One Zambia, One Nation. Thanks for joining us to present. My name is Juliet Mtale. Top stories in the news tonight. Shortage of power and water hits Masai District Hospital. Zambia commemorates World Day Against Child Labor. Government completes construction of a secondary school in Chilanga. Plus, NGOs happy with decentralization policy implementation. Zanis news in detail. Copperbelt Province Minister Elisha Matambo has expressed concern over the lack of power and water supply at Masai District Hospital. Mr. Matambo says he will engage relevant authorities to ensure the challenges at the health institution are addressed soon. Mary Chola has the rest of the details.
Located along the Ndola-Lusaka Road, Masai District Hospital is very important as it does not only serve the people in the area but travelers who fall sick unexpectedly or get involved in an accident. Sadly, the hospital has no functional theatre due to lack of equipment and a mortuary due to lack of power and water supply at the facility. After a fact-finding mission, Copperbelt Province Minister Elisha Matambo is concerned with the prevailing situation.
Without power and water, there's no way we can run a hospital effectively. So those two issues, I'll take it personal that we fix the issue of water, the issue of power as well. Looking at the structure itself, I think this is done almost 95%. I was checking the theater there. All we need is to buy equipment because this hospital is sensitive. It's along Ndola-Lusaka Road, and almost every other time there's an accident here, it's either they rush somebody to Ndola Central Hospital or Kapiri. So this is going to be there to save lives.
And Provincial Health Director is optimistic that once the remaining 5% of the works is completed, the hospital will operate to full capacity.
For the last phase, which started in 2016, it was 11.1 million. And we have spent 7.4 million, the remaining with a balance of 3.4 million. So that 3.4 million, that's what the contractor now is saying. He can't execute the remaining works. The remaining works is completion of the children's ward, completion of the female ward, and the 6 staff houses. And I think it's justified. 3.4 million that is remaining, you can't do all that. So he's applied to the ministry to actually do some adjustments on prices. You know that, for example, the bag of cement in 2016 was not costing the same as today. So he has applied for that price adjustments and also funding. So we hope that he can actually be attended to quickly, given the funding, so that he actually completes these works, because these works have stood since 2016.
Masai is a fast-growing district, and government is determined to take development in the area. Merichola, Zanis, Masai District, Copperbelt.
In Lusaka Province, the Zambia Public Procurement Authority says the electronic government procurement system will enhance transparency and stamp out corruption in the procurement process. ZPPA Director General Ida Chela says the procurement system in its current form is prone to unethical practices. Mrs. Chela was speaking during the official opening of the Electronic Government Procurement Seminar for trainers of trainers. He said there is need for all the 578 existing procurement agencies in the country to adhere to the Public Procurement Act. Speaking at the same event, Smart Zambia National Coordinator Percy Chinyama said the institution has been given April 2024 to fully implement electronic procurement system. Mr. Chinyama, however, disclosed that by September this year, the process will start being rolled out in a phased manner.
We also found that there was collusion between certain entities or suppliers, because they will agree on a price and then they will bid. So in this way, the government was losing monies. There were also delays in finalization of tenders, leading to several visits by suppliers and bidders to procuring entities. Because when you're doing something online, it's easier for everybody to get it at the same time. Then there was also, the biggest thing was that there was lack of transparency, because like we were saying, face to face, you don't know what is happening behind the scene, but this was to enhance transparency. As you know, that is one of our core things as Zambia Public Procurement Authorities, transparency and accountability.
And for us, as Smart Zambia, we're going to use the mandate we have on the ICT officers to ensure that this KPI is met across government. And your KPI is to ensure that the ministries that you are in, the public bodies that you are serving, are using this system for procurement. The official date is somewhere next year, 24th April, isn't it? Somewhere in 2024. But DJ, I can say that with this that we have started doing, we can even bring it closer. I remember I got a directive from Cabinet Office, and I think the wish from Cabinet is that this system is working by 1st September 2023 across government in preparation. So by the time we get to next year, everybody is at full scale.
Meanwhile, Northwestern Province Permanent Secretary Grandson Katambi has called for good workmanship on the Mutanda Minilunga Road. Colonel Katambi said this when the Zambia National Service ZNS Commander Lieutenant General Maliti Solochi paid a courtesy call on him. Details in this report.
Mutanda Minilunga Road in Northwestern Province, which has not been worked on for a long time, covers the stretch of 300 kilometers. Zambia National Service Commander Lieutenant General Maliti Solochi is in Northwestern Province to monitor the rehabilitation works carried out on Mutanda Minilunga Road by ZNS team. Earlier, Lieutenant General paid a courtesy call on Northwestern Province Permanent Secretary Colonel Grandson Katambi before inspecting the works.
We have come for the Mutanda Minilunga Road, and I think the equipment already has been here.
Our strong suggestion is that, given the resources that you have announced here, I don't think it's enough to do the patching of T5. So maybe, sir, you can start looking at scraping off.
General Slochi later inspected the roadworks, which has already commenced by ZNS team at Kisasa area in Kalumbira District in the company of the Road Development Agency, RDA Board Chairperson Mauchandi Kuntawala. The move to work on Minilunga Road has excited the road users.
This is the way to go. Thank you very much.
RDA Board Chairperson has this to say.
Where there are potholes which can be fixed, we will fix it again with cement stabilized laterite, put on the tarmac so that it becomes just like what the original road was. Where there is a long stretch with too many potholes, and actually there are no more potholes per se, that's where we are doing what we are doing here. We are going to rip it, put the sub-base, put cement infused laterite, then put the different categories of stone with bitumen.
The works are expected to be finished in October this year. For Zanis News, I am Chebun Koma in Kalumbira District, Northwestern Province.
Parliamentary Chief Whip Stanford Mulusa says the country needs to put in place TIFA laws for propagators of hate speech. Mr. Mulusa says the recent sentiments of tribalism being promoted by some members of parliament is very unfortunate and has the potential to bring chaos in the country if not addressed. He asserted that members of parliament who are being pursued for questioning by the law enforcement agencies should not use tribalism as a means to invert questioning. Mr. Mulusa was speaking during a press briefing today. And speaking at the same briefing, Northern Province Minister Leonard Mbao described politicking on tribalistic grounds as a poverty mentality, which he said must be rejected by all well-meaning Zambians. And Chesefo Member of Parliament, Mishek Nyambose, has warned members of Parliament not to take the peace that the country has enjoyed for granted by issuing alarming statements.
We want to leave this country united, even more united than before. So obviously there should be some more action towards this, and very soon you will hear that there are motions in Parliament to make sure that we stiffen laws for those that perpetrate hate speech and tribalism. We remind those that promote hate speech, this fire starts very small. In 2021, there was a careless talk that small tribes should not rule this country. All of you remember that. This small mouth is growing big, and if not checked, it can bring fire in this country, and we don't want to see that.
Basically, this issue is a poverty mentality which we shouldn't really entertain. The European government, the New Dawn administration, the president has always been mentioning so that the president is riding on two principles. He only has two things that he wants to achieve in his presidency. Number one is to unite this country. That's his key agenda, to make sure that Zambia is a united country. The second agenda is economic transformation. The president wants to see us as Zambia moving from where we are to a middle-income, prosperous country.
Our moral uprightness should guide us. What type of leaders are we? It's not something that you always want to say, anything that you feel like. You must choose, because now you are a leader. When I say this, how many people believe in me and are going to follow? If I mislead them, I'm misleading the nation. So I wanted to emphasize that there is no such a thing that should be defined as detailed, as strong as a ethnical cleansing. And me, I want this country to have a fresh start. A fresh start in the sense that we should preach love. Love, genuine love. And we should all realize that what we are, first, we are Zambians. All of you here. I don't need to start asking what tribe are you before I come closer to you.
Zambia has today joined the rest of the world in commemorating the World Day Against Child Labor under the theme Social Justice for All and Child Labor. Acting Minister of Labor and Social Security, Collins Nzovu, who officiated at the event, says the 2020 Child Labor Report estimated that over 430,000 children in Zambia were engaged in child labor. Munambonge now gives us a report.
Zambia today joined the rest of the world in commemorating World Day Against Child Labor under the theme Social Justice for All and Child Labor. Officiating at the commemoration in Lusaka, Acting Minister of Labor said government is working on measures to eradicate child labor in the country.
My ministry is currently implementing the second National Action Plan for the elimination of the worst forms of child labor in the period 2020 to 2025, which was launched in June 2021. The overall objective of the plan is to contribute to the effective and gradual elimination of child labor, especially its worst forms by 2025, with emphasis on coordinated and multi-stakeholder response that provides social protection to targeted children.
And International Labour Organization ILO Country Director called on the international community to support strides towards social justice and step up the fight against child labor.
ILO is calling on the international community to support greater social justice and step up the fight against child labor. For the first time in 20 years, child labor is on the rise. Statistics would show that 160 million children, almost 1 in 10 worldwide, are in child labor.
And Zambia Congress for Trade Unions Deputy Secretary General highlighted the impact that child labor has on a child.
Labor deprives children of their childhood, their potential and their dignity, and it is also harmful to physical and their mental development. Guests of honor, ladies and gentlemen, as a trade union organization, we are and will always be the front runners of this battle against child labor because we know that this takes place in our workplaces.
Zambia Confederation of Employers ZFE Vice President explained the importance of growing the economy in order to reduce child labor.
It is thus imperative that as society we address the need for social justice holistically. We start by working to fix the economy so that every person that has a dependent child can have access to decent work, to help support that child, and that those unable to work have social protection.
Mnachwende for Zanis in Lusaka.
Now, children in Chapata District have commended government for the interventions being undertaken to protect the welfare of children in the country. Details in this report.
Joining the nation in commemorating World Day Against Child Labor, children in Chapata District gathered to send messages through dance, poetry, and written speech. In their messages, the children identified poverty as the driving force to child labor, of which they've commended government for various interventions in addressing the matter.
Allow me to thank the new Dawn government under the leadership of President Akainde Ichilema for increasing the constituents development funds, for providing free education to us, and for providing other empowerment programs to our parents. This will help fight child labor in the province. Parents, let's stop this practice and send our children to school because school is now free.
The event was graced by Chapata District Commissioner Elida Mwanza.
Child labor in Chapata District is on a high level. You know, Chapata District is both rural and urban area. You find that in the rural areas of our district, our own children are used as laborers in the farms. I think next time, the way Mr. Tembo said it, we are not going to have this event at such a place, but we'll go right there so that the people can know that this is a big offense that they're doing.
And representatives of government line ministries spearheading the development of children also shared more.
The people in the community have been crying foul to say we've given too much power to the children and now parenting has become a challenge. Children's Code Act, which the president signed into law, is saying a child has responsibilities. You have responsibilities to arise to what you are supposed to do, which is you have to contribute to the good morals of society. Meanwhile, an adult has an obligation. As an adult, you have an obligation to see to it that a child is protected.
Our joint experience in tackling child labor over the course of the years has been demonstrated that child labor can be eliminated in the province, especially if we fight the root cause of child labor.
The 2023 World Day Against Child Labor was being commemorated under the theme Social Justice for All to End Child Labor. Abigail Kashweka, Zanis in Chapata.
We now move to the eastern part of the country. Government has released about 1 million kwacha to pay 136 retired teachers in Chapata District as part payment towards offsetting outstanding allowances. The Chapata District Retired Teachers Association has thanked the government for releasing the funds owed to them. Association chairperson Emmanuel Sakala said the money was meant to pay off leave travel benefits and repatriation allowances which had not been paid to the former government employees. Mr. Sakala said this when he, together with members of the CDRTA executive, called on Eastern Province Education Officer Brenly Malambo to express their gratitude to the government for coming to their rescue. and Provincial Education Officer Brenly Malambo assured the retired teachers of government's commitment to clearing outstanding allowances owed to both retired and serving teachers. Zanis News continues. The National Council for Construction, NCC, has bemoaned the low number of women in the construction industry in some parts of Northern Province. NCC School Principal Wendy Mukape said this when NCC officials held a sensitization meeting and inspected some works in Procurement District. Here are the details.
As part of its mandate to develop and promote the construction industry, the National Council for Construction, NCC, through its training school, has continued to enhance and develop trade skills relevant to the sector. However, NCC school principal Wendy Mukape has bemoaned the lack of involvement of women in Northern Province in the sector. This was after the team from the NCC visited Procurement District.
But one call would like to make is that women participate and partake in this. We've noted there are few women contractors, and also there are few women coming up to come and attend our skills development courses. So we are calling on these. And
NCC board chairperson Vitalis Moya is impressed with the quality workmanship of local contractors in the province and has called for more skill enhancement.
Never expected such a good workmanship, and it's what we want. We have to grow them, nurture them, and nurture them rather. I can see, this one, it won't take, with this standard, very soon it's grade 6, that's the lowest, level.
Meanwhile, the local leadership in Porokoso is happy with the coming of the NCC services to the district.
This is a welcome development where we're going to have an NCC at least office in the district. I think that will help us a lot. What we will do now is to enhance sensitization so that those who need registration, they can come quickly to us, then we facilitate. That will help us resolve some of these complaints that we've had from our local contractors who have not been able to get these contracts because they don't meet the requirements. I think it will be very easy and less costly for them.
From NCC was in Northern Province to sensitize stakeholders on the Memorandum of Understanding it recently signed with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. Ntazanga Mumba for Zanis in Procurement District.
And now in our education segment, government with support from the World Bank has completed the construction of St. Michael Day Secondary School in Kalundu area in Chilanga District at a cost of over 6 million kwacha. Zambia Education Enhancement Project ZIP architect Lawrence Mutanda said this when he inspected the works at the school. Jens Malumba now reports.
Construction of additional school infrastructure at St. Michael Day Secondary School in Kalundu area of Chilanga District has been completed. The construction has been financed by the World Bank under a $60 million loan facility to improve school infrastructure in the country for the next 5 years. St. Michael is one of the 82 schools benefiting from the infrastructure program being implemented by the Zambia Education Enhancement Project, ZEP.
In all, we're constructing 82 schools of this kind in our country. And Chilanga, I should say, was one of the lucky beneficiaries because the schools are only 18 and we have 116 districts. And so this is the only school in Chilanga being supported by this. So the package comprises 5 classrooms, a laboratory, home economics classroom, 4 teachers' houses, a borehole, power supply.
School head teacher Anthony Chilambwe recalls the infrastructure challenges the school used to face before the construction of this additional infrastructure at the school.
Children, when they get to grade 9, they had no opportunity to access, the senior secondary education. So it was not easy. That's why we thought of, starting the secondary section so that we can provide the senior secondary education, even with limited infrastructure. So we just started without any infrastructure. But when we are given ZIP, I think it came as a blessing for us. The beauty and the children, because of that, I think it motivated them. And you can see even, I think, the performance. Every year that comes, I think we are improving in terms of performance.
Fairchild Chibomba is the project's implementation chairperson and highlights the works.
Whenever we required funding for the project, it was released in very good time, to the extent that we were meeting our targets ahead of time.
The completion of this secondary school has not just elated school management, but the pupils too. Jane Simalumba Zanis in Lusaka.
The Zambia National Commercial Bank PLC Zanaco has started training the Constituency Development Fund CDF loan recipients in financial management in Iteji District. The intensive training for the 14 successful applicants under the 2022 CDF Loan Fund is being organized in collaboration with the Town Council. Frederick Mansa brought us the details.
With the introduction of Constituency Development Fund loans aimed at empowering entrepreneurs, ensuring that recipients get the most out of these loans has become critical. This is why Zanaco Bank has begun a series of financial management trainings in Iteji, aimed at equipping loan recipients with financial management skills. Iteji District Constituency Development Fund chairperson officiated at the trainings.
So nimpe pabonse mamene muzatenga izindrama mukazisebenzese mushi kukonka na mamene munalembera so that izindrama na bena antu wakachike bwanji wakachike ko benefit izindrama nizobweza.
And Zanaco representative lectured loan recipients on financial management.
So our businesses, like I was saying, we all had plans, and every program that we have laid in our business proposals is to say, at the end of the day, is either we are going to produce something or we are going to sell something.
Meanwhile, participants are upbeat about the training.
Yonda lombo ya kwambati business yitu kapangawa idakabono kwambati aswe tuyole tupeko obehi nokweswa kwambati abo chikuya buchita security mbona bolya ubamwe bayane ubamwe kumana upushi muchishi
baba ma clubs on say the old mini district iteji kuba lemba batamba kwambati no chamana kuti agambo mukutalika bule koku ali mu bamwe balabwe baba kachala bose mahina bali abo ine.
Frederick Mansa, Zanis, Iteji.
23 cooperatives in Masai District have received loans under the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, amounting to over 3 million kwacha. Kennedy Chomba has the rest of the story.
Luapula Province Minister Derek Chirundika has handed over Constituency Development Fund loans amounting to over 3 million kwacha to beneficiaries in Masai Central and Bat constituencies. The provincial minister also disclosed that a number of projects under CDF are currently going on in both Masai Central and Bat constituencies.
You may wish to know that works have so far commenced at Chitamba Secondary School and Lueba Bridge, where the Masai Central CDF is funding a 1x3 laboratory and construction of bridge respectively, both totaling to 1,239,949,000.35. In addition, the Bahati CDF is funding works for the completion of the Po Mandrima Police Post and construction of a 1x3 classroom block at Kawondo Primary School at a total of 2,367,984.90.
Youth, Art and Sports Minister Elvis Nkandu says loan empowerment under CDF is one way of uplifting the living standards of the people at community level.
Economically, we are not doing fine because of the huge debt that we had inherited. Now, what we've done is making some interventions. Some of the interventions is the free education policy so that you don't pay. Another intervention is what we'll be doing now by giving you loans so that you can now invest. The third one, grants. That is money for free.
The beneficiaries of these first ever loans in Masai District are aware of the need to properly utilize the funds so that more people can benefit.
Mbana ifwe tuwapoke shimpia ni loan te grant. Ni loan nga tuwapoka na tuwapoka 200,000 na tuwapoka 185,000 teko ya mkupangira mwenkoko na nguku lya sana. Pantu ni nkongole shakubwesha. Elio shinkongole shiri muri 4 years. Ukutekanya sana na ilo business rate ta tufure tuwa making sure 5,000 kwacha per month ifure ya bwekera. Bantu ngatatubwekeshe mpia nishitwakirikira abanesu bariana bene abarefu kwata kundu bari ukupokesha mpia.
These loans which have been given out are for 2022 CDF. Hence, more cooperatives are expected to benefit under the 2023 CDF. Kere Chomba reporting for Zanis News in Masai District.
Various civil society organizations have commended government for implementing the decentralization policy as it will respond to the aspirations of people at grassroots level. Zambia Social Forum National Coordinator Geshom Kabaso was speaking in an interview with Zanis shortly after the SADC preparatory meeting, which precedes the upcoming SADC summit to be held this year. As we end the news, a reminder of the top stories. Shortage of power and water hits Masai District Hospital. Zambia commemorates World Day Against Child Labor. Government completes construction of a secondary school in Chilanga. Plus, NGOs happy with decentralization policy implementation. Thank you so much for staying with us. Remember, we're one Zambia, one nation. My name is Juliet today, and on behalf of the entire Zanis production team, it's bye-bye and God bless.